Hi, this is the design of verbal diarrhea, communicating about verbal diarrhea. Obviously, the question in your mind is, what is verbal diarrhea? Verbal diarrhea is the continuous splattering and blabbering of words with no awareness and no consideration of what has actually been said and spoken. This whole world has got an illness, a sickness, a disease, which is verbal diarrhea. Now it is in this verbal diarrhea that this entire world has been manifested as the shithole that it has become. You speak shit, you manifest shit, you experience that shit, and you become that shit. This is what this world has become. Therefore, it is to become very aware of the words you speak and the words you communicate. What does that awareness mean? That awareness means if you sit around people, women, whether you go to tea parties or men when you go to the bar for a beer, sitting there laughing, speaking about what? I have a suggestion. Because human beings speak with no awareness. They don't realize that even the words they speak may support others in their mindsets, or even support themselves in their own mindsets. Yeah, it sounds like mind sex. Human beings fucking themselves with the words they speak. Literally. And figuratively speaking, of course. Therefore, be aware and take into consideration the words you speak. I would not speak any words within a conversation with human beings that are of absolute blabbering nonsense. Literal verbal diarrhea. Walk into restaurants, shopping centers, parties, gatherings. What do people communicate about? That would be an example of verbal diarrhea. Especially gossip. That's the most famous. But what beings don't realize who gossip is that which you gossip about that person will come back to you tenfold. Because everything has been inverted tenfold. Therefore no human being is able to harm another, of course without the other's allowance and acceptance. So my suggestion would be the following. I would not speak any words that are of verbal diarrhea definition. In other words, I'd make sure when I speak with a being, I'd speak straight, direct, as statements of who I am. In other words, I would test my communication with others. Does it stand in oneness and equality? Am I assisting and supporting me as I'm assisting and supporting the others? What is it that I'm communicating about? Is participating in this conversation influencing me as who I am or supporting me as who I am? If it influences you, stand up and walk away. Human beings, if you want to walk this process, you're going to have to become extensively strict and disciplined in your choices of words, especially the ones you voice. It is nothing other than you voicing you in the support of you as a statement that is who you are. This is going to be a 7-year process, a 7 to 9 year process, with absolute discipline, with absolute effectiveness, with absolute specificity of self-forgiveness, self-honesty, self-application in every moment, to the absolute. Why? 7 to 9 years may seem very long. But take into consideration that we have existed 350 billion years in a mind system reality. Multiples upon multiples upon multiples. So really, giving up 7 to 9 years of your life for yourself is nothing. For the infinite expression of who you are, of life within and as oneness and equality. Why is it 7 to 9 years? Because to make sure that we do not do this again. And 7 to 9 years is sufficient. Though of course, it may take longer depending on the specificity of your application. And human beings, this is inevitable. All will go through this process and realize themselves within and as oneness and equality of life. So I suggest start now, with every breath and every moment of self-honesty. That's all. It's really simple. Focus on your breathing. For 21 days, just breathe. No mind. Self-honesty in every moment of every breath. 21 days to self-freedom. Then after that, of course, comes the application. 7 to 9 years. You apply yourself. Specifically, effectively. Let's say the 21 days is like the detox period. Where you detox yourself from the mind. And then from there you stand up and you start living. So, human beings, the best way also to start is to start focusing on the specificity of your words and the words you speak. Do not participate in conversations where you know you'll be influencing not only yourself but the others around you. It might seem like fun, wonderful, great moments, but if you actually look at the after effects and the consequences of but that conversation that did not honor you and the others as who you are within and as oneness and equality, it is not so wonderful and great and fun. Therefore, human beings, dedicate you to yourself for the first time in millennia. Thank you very much. This is the design of verbal diarrhea.